Hey there, and welcome to Scrap with Penny. I always forget about the lag, so I sit here for a few minutes, and I think I might have coughed at the very beginning of this. So if I did, forgive me. I'm still learning, and welcome to 2026, and welcome to the very first Make It With Me Monday. And I'm so excited to be here. I've done a little bit of prep, and whether you're scrapping along with me or just here to watch and cheer me on, I appreciate it nonetheless. So let's talk a little bit about what we've got going on. I have my month in review supplies for January out. Look at this adorable little die cut. It's so cute. And so let me just take a minute to get my stream window visible and also the chat. So I see, North Carolina, Kentucky, West Tennessee, and I'm Texas. So we've got a good little gathering going on. Okay, so I talked a little bit about this January die cut. We're doing month in review. If you're not familiar with month in review, I shared in detail my 2021 project, and there's 2 videos on that. And it's just a composite way to collect your stories from everyday life into one double page layout. Now, there will be some breakout stories that I tell, but for the most part, I'm hopeful that most of my everyday life can be captured in month in review. And this will be the 4th year that I'm doing. And so I'm wondering right now, I'm going to pop this question in. How do you feel about me doing 2 of these a month? And thereby I could get a whole year done from January to June, and then we could start another year in July. So I think I can do it because I've got so much prep work done already. And if you'd be interested in going at maybe an accelerated pace, let me know in the chat. I see I've got Sheila, I've got Brenda, I've got Sarah, Kathleen, I've got Melanie, I've got Nicole. Good morning, everyone. I'm so happy you're here, and thanks for hopping on. So just real quick, the genesis for this, we started last year on my channel working through 2021, and we got it all done. And so this year we're kind of starting reverse. I've got most of these stories told, and we're going to work on our month in review. Okay, so I've got my little circles cut. I've got my backers. I've got my journal card. I pulled this one, and I'm seeing that kind of go on a circle. And I've got this little January here, and I've got my pictures that I'm going to crop. And then this is my big journal. I mean, my big circle. Okay, so I think the first thing we can do is we're going to cut a 4x4 square out of this. And I've got my big trimmer here on my desk. I want to get my big cuts done and then move this guy out of the way. I have enjoyed looking at this paper as I've been planning, and I'm excited about the way these are going to look. Oh, I'm seeing some go for it's on doing 2 in 1. Those are my girls. So if you have done month in review, tell me, have you done it every year, or are you a little bit behind like me? I didn't love this at first, and the idea has kind of grown on me. So those are going to be for later. And I think I'm going to go ahead and cut this one just in case I want to use it. And so now that I have changed how I feel about it, I really do want to go back and do all of the years. And that's another reason why I'm wanting to do 2 years in 1. And I've got plenty of paper here on hand for that. Okay, so this wood grain is going to go at the bottom of my layout, and I'm pretty excited about it. And I'm going to cut it at 4 inches. And then we've got a little stripe that's going to bridge the gap. So we're going to have 2 rows of photos, and they're all 4 inches tall. So obviously 4 times 3 is 12. Let's see, what else do I need to cut with my big trimmer? I want to talk a little bit about the washi. So I shared in the planning video that this collection doesn't have a stripe. And sometimes, you know, Simple Stories is that way. And so what I've done is the Vanessa Bell trick that I learned. And what you do is you bring your washi to a piece of cardstock. I've already got some ready, but I just wanted to do this on film in case you're not familiar with this. What it does is it gives your washi some stability, and it makes it, you can trim it, you can punch it, and most importantly, this is why I did it ahead of time. I get nervous. Most importantly, it reduces the opacity. It gives it a little more visibility on your page. But I wanted to show one little bit on camera. So just trim these edges. And then you can run this through your trimmer and you've got a nice solid stripe. And this is a great tool or a little hack for the collections that don't come with a stripe. So this washi is from True Colors, and it's a perfect match for what we're working with. And you know, that's one of the things, I say it all the time, that I love about Simple Stories is that their color palette stays the same. Wouldn't you know? Through their collections. So I think I've made all of my big cuts. I can get this guy out of the way. I can't control the commercials. Someone's telling me commercials are coming. That is kind of the way it works. So this is where we're going on the layout. And the next thing I want to do is go ahead and trim my photos. I've got 3 that are 4x4, and I've got 2 that are 3.5 by 3.5, and then I've got 4 that are 4x6. So the 4x6 are going to lay out right here in this section. My stripe is going to go right here. Over here, we're going to have circles all on the bottom. So let me get the little pictures trimmed. On the commercials, I chose to go to YouTube Premium. I know that not everyone can do that, but the way YouTube Premium works is the creators get a pro rata portion of that, and then you don't get commercials. So this is going to go up here. But the commercials, the ads just drive me nuts. And so last year when I stopped watching Patreon and wanted to watch YouTube, I had an offer for a free 3-month trial. And then, man, I never could go back to the ads after that. So my pictures for January are what you would expect: a little bit of New Year's Day, a little bit of vacation. My husband is in retail and he has a very stressful job. And so when he gets done with inventory, we usually do a little bit of an escape. And man, I like that little January break for a warmer climate. We don't get a really bad winter here, but we do get enough of a winter for, maybe this should be 3.75. Yep. So I made my note wrong. Okay. And so on my little trimmer hack, I've shared that when I finish cutting the first picture completely on the top and bottom, I'll move my piece of mint tape, and then now I can get a consistent square. I know, you know, not everybody gets hung up on that, but I think when you're doing a little bit of a grid, for me, it's nice that they're consistent. And the reason why I do it is because on this Creative Memories trimmer, which I love, you don't get the little guide, the little trimming guide like you do on the Tim Holtz. So kind of a two-for approach. One last picture to trim. I felt like if I came to the party and had these already cut, it would be a big cheat. So, you know, the rule follower in me, this old accountant, is wired. Okay, so these are all trimmed. This is going to go here and here. And I think what we can do is start taping them down. What's going to go up here? Okay. I've got a little January note card. This is from Hello Today, which I used in tandem with the collection I used for 2021. And I didn't use these, and I thought that they would be great to bring out. So it's going to go right here, but it's going to be matted on one of these pieces of paper. Let's go with a little bit of a high contrast. And I used some of my favorite things, note card die, long discontinued, but certainly a good one to have. So I think I'm gonna go right there with that. And then this will go right here. So the sketch doesn't call for 4x4 pictures up here. It calls for 2 rows of 2x2, but I can't do that. It's too many little ones for me. And then I opted to bring in the pattern paper behind it to get more paper on the page, because you know I love my paper. So the other thing I want to say is that anytime you've got a 4x6, you can obviously substitute in 2 3x4s. And so what that would look like over here, Sophie, honey, we're not going to be able to go outside. I started a crater. She wouldn't come to the crate. So here's how it would look if you wanted to get some 3x4s in, and you could increase your photo count. There might be a month later on where I need to do that, but I didn't need it for January. January is usually kind of a quiet month. So let's get going on taping some photos down. Let's see. Oh, Nicole says she's going to do 2 this year. I'm always behind, and I've got less time to catch up. That's the thing about having a milestone birthday, is you kind of go, oh my gosh, it's the years fly by. This Noteworthy collection is a little bit of a different look for me. It's a lot of the brights, but I'm kind of excited about it. A lot of my month in review collections are primary colors, and so it's fun to kind of shake things up. The sketch does call for stitching around some of the circles on the bottom, but I don't think I'm going to do that, and it's mainly due to time. If I don't know, I just don't think I can swing. I don't think I can swing. I'll tell you what, I'm going to tape this down, and then these will bridge the gap. I don't think I can swing the stitching on it, because when I finish it, when I finish the documenting part of it, I want to go on to something else. So my goal for 2026 is to have a 4-pronged approach to my layouts when I get to pick the project. And I'm going to do Disney, travel, vintage childhood, and then this 2024. I want to make sure I'm in frame. Yeah. There's a lot to watch on these lives. But part of the reason why I started my channel was for a little bit of community. Now this means the basil is slightly larger. It's okay. I can do a haircut. I can do a little shave afterwards. But I do want to get it down straight. Okay. So these lives are a way for me to have that little bit of connection or community, because, you know, like, there's so many facets to our hobby, and I love shopping, and I love organizing, and I love chatting with friends about all of that. But what I love most is creating. Okay. It got tacky before I wanted it to. Okay. And so then, per the sketch, my stripe comes over here next. Decades behind. So one of the things I did in the gap between Christmas and New Year's is I purged printed photos, and I filmed it. But I can't decide if I'm going to share it or not, because I'm kind of ashamed of all of the printed photos that I purged. Oh, I love that. Okay. So now let's get our, well, let me stay focused. Let me stay with getting my big pieces down. I think I'd be okay with that coming down onto the image, but anyway. So the whole result of me purging some of the photos, a lot of the photos, if I'm honest, and if I share that video, then you'll know. But a lot of the older years, I thought, you know, I could handle all of this in month in review. I don't need a double page layout about back to school shopping or the first day of school, because I mean, honestly, I don't know that the boys really care, and I don't know that their wives really care. So I thought, if I did a month in review, thank you, Heather. If I did a month in review for those years when they were still at home, then it would kind of let me off the hook for all of the stories that I didn't get told. And, you know, the longer you wait to tell a story, some of it ages out. You know, you're not, the story isn't as imperative anymore. You know, it's kind of not irrelevant, but some things just don't age well, I guess. So I've shared in other videos that I used to do a double layout for Christmas Eve, and I would do a double layout for Christmas Day for stockings. I would do a double for the tree, a double for breakfast. So there's just only so much space on the shelf, literally. So it felt really good to kind of flip through and decide. So they were all printed 4x6, and I've shared that I am not really capable of doing 4x6 on everything, because it is about space. And so that was another reason why there were just far too many, and they were too big. I love scrapping with square photos, and I love getting a lot on one page. So I'm planning a layout right now that I think it'll have 4 photos on a single page. Ah, it's so cute. This is a great sketch. So it's a month in review bundle. It's number 10. I think I decided I needed to put the wood down first. And I'll have the link to the sketch bundle, Scrapbook Generation sketch bundle, in the video description. And I've shared before that Allison has that photo arrangement replay class that kind of takes you through the skill set of dissecting a sketch into photos versus background, paper background. This basil is just a hair long. I should have done, there's more room over here. Let me see if I can pull this up real quick. I always say, take your shortage to the outside. And then I forgot that this has a shortage. But if you look at the month in review sketch bundle and you don't necessarily like both sides of it, it's just like what I did on this sketch. Instead of, like, her sketch has 21 photos on it, and man, it'd be a great vacation sketch. But for my part, I wanted a little bit bigger photos. And so the photo arrangement replay class just teaches you to look at the pictures differently and know, that you can size them. Okay. I'm doing pretty good on time. I don't have an idea how long this will take, but okay. So now here we go. Let's go ahead and tape this January down. I want to put it up on foam. That probably surprises no one. Are y'all working on something today? So this is just foam from scrapbook.com, and it's 1 millimeter tall, I think. I'm gonna ruffle this a little bit. It's such a cute little die. And I'm gonna go just like that. Eyeball it, get it down. So now I've got my 3 whites cut to back my, there it is. I was like, where did it go? I have all of my tools, spread out like this is CENTCOM, Central Command. We are serious about scrapping today. So let me get a little stability on this base. This will help me. Okay, so this big one is going to come right here. And that measures at 5 1/4. And my journaling is going to go on top of it. And my journaling is going to be a 5-inch circle. And I hope to goodness I can cut it accurately on camera. So this is just right here. This is over here. So over here, the circles come up against the stripe. But on this side, the stripe's only evident over here. So I'm going to do a little stripe on the end. And some of these I cut with the Pierce stacks, which is it My Favorite Things? I did 3 with the Pierce stacks. So this is kind of the layout that we have going. I am going to have to trim this down. But you know, like I said, I wanted to do some of it live versus coming in with everything prefab. I took the 6x8 pad and just went to town with my die cutting circles, and that I think is in the prep video. Okay, so that's the lay of the land. And let me get my pencil out. I don't see it. It's okay. It's nice to see what y'all are working on. Okay, I need to stay focused even though I can't find mine. So I can just come right here and use this little tool. So I'm going to cut this one. And it goes across the page. I'm okay with that. Got to be decisive. So that's going to go right there. And then this next one lays on top of it. And it also gets a haircut. I'm just going to eyeball this one. I've shared before that I don't really like working with circles, and it's all of my trauma from creative memories. But I kind of took this on as a challenge to conquer my aversion to circles. So we're getting a 2-for-1 here. This tucks underneath, kind of like that. I feel like I may have, nope, it's good. I was going to say maybe I overlapped it too much, but there's not a lot under there, so. Oh, I need to trim this one. So this goes right under this. It's cute. Then I've got a white backer for this. One thing Allison does a good job of on her sketches is giving you white space to breathe. And I remember in one of the 6x6 classes, he had us doing a she had us doing a oh, it was a hexagon sketch, and I did not put enough white little toppers on that, and when I finished, it was so busy. I'm having a hard time seeing this where I mark it. Oh, I found my pencil. Okay. Thank you, Heather. I thought it would be kind of fun. And this collection is kind of office supply-ish, but I think it can be pulled off. We'll see. Usually, if you've ever done month in review, you know, you started off and you're so fresh with enthusiasm and you love it, and then by the time you get done, you're like, oh, I hate this collection. Okay, so I need to do a little strip down here, and I wanted to kind of see the paper. Okay, so what should I do? I want to keep seeing the circle, so let me move over here, and then we can come back and do this bottom section. Sorry for that clack. I need to get this little piece off. I figure that these lives are a little bit of an exercise workout because, man, I get a little worked up. Meaning, I know I'm out of frame. Meaning I know I'm burning calories here. Okay, so this goes right here. Just going to be very subtle because it's going to get covered up by this guy going like that. And let's thank you, Sheila, for saying it's fun. I think any day you get to scrapbook is fun. And I'm fortunate enough that I get a lot of those days. So that'll get a little bit of a haircut for it to bump up against that one. Now we have the big one going down. And this goes almost to the bottom. Let's see, I kind of wanted to, not a lot of this is going to show, but I wanted to kind of eliminate some of the green. I have my colors I like, no doubt. And the ones that I don't like. Now this one also has the white insert, but we're going to cut our journaling in a minute and we'll worry about trimming it up then. So for the journaling, I went out into Canva and I made a template, and then I drew a circle, and then I did a text box inside the circle. So I'll show you that in a second. So this, we're going to go right here. I was thinking so hard about how I could trim these circles doing the live, and sometimes just a good old pencil and eyeballing it is the way to go. So we're going to go right here, and then this one is going to tuck underneath. We're just going to take a little bit of this one off, and you can use another piece of paper to bump it up if you've got too short of a piece to get under your guide. I just will put a little piece of paper to scoot it up. And sometimes if you need to, you can tape a tail on this to get it. So that's like that. And then that tells us how much of our stripe we need. Not that much. So whoops. So that's going to be the finished side to this. And let me get the other little circles down. This one is right here. And it has a white cover. So let me get that on. I guess a white inset. It's funny how you struggle with nouns when you're talking. So it's very subtle seeing the pattern paper, but I think there's some strength in that sometimes when you just get a little bit of a glimpse of it. Isn't that cute? Oh, I love it. Okay, let's see. Let's take stock. So this is, oh no, where's this one? We're almost done with the circles on this side. This one goes right down here. So you can see that I've repeated my paper. So this is the pink that's up here, and this is the yellow that's up there. And when I was picking out the circles, I was just trying to look for, a difference in the colors and the scale. So let's see. So back over to this. We're going to do this. Have you worked with this collection? Let's see. I can't. It came out in 2023, so it's not terribly old. And I shared in the planning video that it's still out there in some places for acquisition. Okay, let me trim this guy. I don't like my stragglers. Okay, so that one's done. And okay, so I was thinking it would be fun to use these foam stickers as kind of a title. So I thought that the hello would be really cute right here, and it would say hello January. So I have enough of this collection to do 2 years, and I'll do a year that's far apart from 2024 when I go back in time. So I kind of see that going right there. I know that it'll add a little bit of bulk to the album, but I'm okay with that. So, okay. So the sketch calls for a 1/4 inch strip under this and then a 1/4 inch strip at the bottom. And instead of those 2 tiny strips, I thought it would be fun just to do one down here that was maybe 3/8 inches. And so what I was thinking about doing was using this washi. And so to do this, I would need to do the same washi trick that I showed at the beginning, which if I thought about that, I wouldn't have had to demonstrate that, but I should have found the edge. I don't think we can see what it'll look like if I put it straight down onto the wood grain. It might be a little look, But also I was thinking I didn't want the whole width of it. So I was thinking that maybe I could just do two rows of words. What do you think? Let me see. Let me pick it up and see what it looks like. I don't mind the wood grain showing through. Okay, so the trick will be to kind of stay straight. Let's see. Oh, nuts. Let me get out my Omni Grid. That might be better. And then obviously I'm probably going to have to stand up. When things get serious, I've got to stand up so I can see. Okay. So the other thing I thought about for the bottom was the color vibe. But I thought if the washi would work, that might be more fun. Because, you know, we all get that washi and then we don't use it. Oh, it's crooked. It does come up pretty easy, though, if you need to take it up. Okay, that's better. So let me trim the sides. I'm going to put the other side down and then I'll get the big trimmer back up for this. So. And next month we'll know to put this down before we put these little circles down. So let me see. I don't see anything in the chat. This is a little bit just coming off the rails here, but we're gonna keep going. Hopefully I can pull this off. Oh, come on. Okay, let's see how it looks on the flip side. Oh, not too bad. That's always exciting. But I thought that the washi would just be a fun little touch. There's a lot of cute phrases on it. And using the 6x8 paper, you don't necessarily see all of the phrases. So let me just put a little glue there to help that go back down. Okay, so let me move some things out of the way. I don't think I shared, this is the die set for the January that I've got cut over here. And there, it's 2 sets, so it's all the months. And I picked that up on a Black Friday sale. There's one. And there's 2. Okay. So now we can go over here, and these lie on top of it and cover that up. And that was the whole direction we were getting to. So this one goes down first. Let's go like that. And then this one goes next. So the circles are a myriad of sizes from 1 inch all the way up to the 5¼ inches. So when I got the sketch, the first thing I always do is kind of mark up the measurements, and that kind of told me what I needed. And so then when I was cutting, I just cut some of the different sizes out of each of the patterns. Oh, that's so cute. Okay, so here's our double. And here's this. So let's tape together our little Januaries. You know, gosh, it's tiny. Hopefully this will end up looking pretty good. I use the the My Sweet Petunia Precision Glue Press. And I do it because you can control your flow and get these little tiny increments. See? And then when I do this, I take the color to the white. Oh, come on. And then you just smush them together. I like this effect because you get a shadow, because it's impossible for it to be perfect. And so you get the depth, and then you also get a little bit of a shadow. Let me see. Let me get this closer to me. So I will confess, I don't have any embellishments pulled or decided on. So I'm a little anxious about that part of the video, because goodness knows I cannot decide anything quickly. But this is turning out pretty cute. I think maybe, was it Nicole McGork? Bean can tell me if she's still on here. Was it Nicole McGork that showed us how to shadow layers upon layers? I don't know. I know she was such a favorite back in the day over on 2Ps. Nuts. Okay, slow down a second. This is the fiddly work that some people love more than others. Let's see if I can get this down here. Okay. All right. So, oh, that's going to be so cute. Okay, so what we need to do next is cut our journaling. All right, so this is the Canva template that I made, and this is a 5x7, and I've got my old school Creative Memories circle cutter out, and based on the transparency, I should use the orange blade. Thank goodness, I hope this comes right. I had on my to-do list to print a backup piece, and then I was like, no, just do it. So we did learn in Creative Memories to do this before you lifted up your pressure. Oh, thank God, it cut. Okay. I can breathe a big sigh of relief. So now I just need to mark it on where I want to trim it. And it looks like I could have typed some more, but I can fill this gap with either the title or some phrase stickers. So I'm not overly concerned. Okay. Let's get some adhesive on this. And I actually recycled a piece of paper. So there's discarded journaling on the back. I've got a little pencil mark I need to erase. There we go. Okay. So I could do that like that, because I can't, so I've got to come up onto the photo. I could go here. Let's do that. How does that look? I think that's going to work. We're locking it in. So on this sketch, one of these foam stickers don't play. So man, you've got to make sure you're getting it down in the right space. So on the sketch, it calls for stitching here and stitching here and stitching here, and then stitching around some of the little ones on the outside. But I just used the circle stacks, and I didn't think I would have, I didn't want to stitch on this. I don't really like to stitch on white. It's just one of my things. So in the way of embellishments, I pulled some rub-ons. I have the rub-ons to this collection, And I thought it might be fun to kind of use some over here for filler. It's pretty cute. Okay. Now, what do we have? We've got a little imperfection on our washi, but you know, I always say, do your best and the gutter will hide the rest. So I'll trim up my edges after the live, and I'll post the finished layout in on my social account. I have Instagram and Facebook in case you're not following me there. So what we need to do now is pull some, well, let's look at the rub-ons. Oh, it's 111. Gosh, it always takes longer. So these are the rub-ons. That would be kind of pretty right there. Let's just dive in and use it. We can't take it with us when we go. So my thought was kind of to try maybe use one rub-on a month. And I have a really old school rub-on tool. This is an old basic gray. So let's go for it. If this doesn't work, I can get a floral cluster out and cover it up. So rub-ons were so popular back in the 2010, 2015 era. And then they went away. And then they came back. So do you use them? Basic Gray always did rub-ons, but theirs were usually black and white. Okay, so that, let me see if I can get this little pink bunch down. There we go. Okay, and so the trick to setting your rub-on is to take the backer paper that it came on and kind of burnish it, and it's supposed to help it set into the paper. So I want a Girl Scout badge for doing a rub-on on a live. Ooh. Okay, let's see. Jess was commenting about the circle cutter. So it's one of the things that I'm glad that I hung on to. Okay, so now let's look at chipboard and see if there's anything we want on chipboard. I was kind of thinking about this stack of books. And what can we put with that? We can't really repeat the floral. But the other thing I'll say is it helps to change up your dimensions. So if you use chipboard here, then maybe go look at something flat. And I like the little aqua envelope, maybe kind of to layer behind it. So kind of like that. I'm just putting it down loosely. And then we've got the brads. Oh, the clock would be cute. Or the 365 because it's the beginning of the year. Okay, so let's lock this in. Let me put some foam on this. I picked the time for this live because it is a window of time where I can know that my mom is settled and upstairs and the school bus isn't running. And because that's like a total dog barking moment. And I think that, you know, if you're a working girl, it's your lunch hour. So I was thinking that it would work. So when I do the next one, I'm going to shoot for the next time frame. And the consensus was to kind of go ahead and do another one in 2 weeks. So I I would love being able to get 2 years knocked out in one. So I'm just, sometimes your fingers really get in the way. Gotta watch the word wrap. There we go. Oh, and what was my other thing? Oh, a Brad. The 365. Oh, where's my little tool? It's right here. You know, it's hard to get things straight when your base is crooked. So I'm going to come under the books. Okay, so this page is done, unless we see some more embellishments. So I want to do something up here. So maybe here's this on the daily. Oh, good things ahead is cute. That's good for a new year. Okay. Let me find some foam for it. So I'm not going to go hog wild on the embellishments because I've got 12 months to get through and a whole other year. So that's kind of what I'm thinking. But if I can get a little interest, a little movement around the page. Okay, that's good. And let's see, what else do we have to look at? Oh, the sticker book. And all my flowers. I want to do a little floral cluster, maybe down here, because there's 4 elements. And I do like my odds. Oh, this one is cute. And this is a good size. This one right here. So I just sorted these out onto magnetic backer sheets. Oh yeah. And I bought a box of these years ago, and you know, sometimes stuff that you buy, it just lasts forever. So I'm going to pop this up on foam. It doesn't need a ton of foam. And it would be good to get a little word phrase down here on the white. So, but I can also look at my die cuts. I like that a lot. Okay, so then it would be, let me see if I can find one little solo flower for up there. It seemed like there were some, so here's this aqua, there's the green, there's an orange. Oh, I don't know that I ever want to use those greens. But what about that if I trimmed it? I don't like it. Let me trim it and see if it looks better. Okay, we're going to leave it there and see if we see anything else. So we're kind of looking for something for this, and if there's any other elements we want to put down here. I have such a mess over here. I don't even know where my other magnetic sheets are. Oh, here they are. Whew. Okay. Oh, I have this one. What about that? Oh, yes. Okay, perfect. So there is, in the die cuts, there is a number for each month. Let me move this out of the way. The Plan for Good Things is cute. Sorry for the noise. I could trim that and kind of tuck it behind and go like that. Oh yes, that's gonna work. I don't really feel the need to bring something in here because I think it's okay that it's a little quiet. So let's see if there's any. The erasers crack me up. Days of Memories. Maybe. I don't see anything on here. I don't see anything there. The push pin is cute. Okay. Now, the last thing I want to look at is the sticker book. And here it is. This is all office supplies. I don't really want that. I'm not looking for that right now. This Noteworthy is cute. I could put that right there. Okay. There was a period on the sticker books when they went to a much more thin paper stock, and they corrected that in 24. Or maybe it was 25. But, you know, now they're not making the sticker books at all, which I thought they were such a good value. Welcome, Jolene. I'm a longtime Dolly Parton fan. I bet you might get tired of Jolene jokes. But thanks for hopping in. Okay. I'm looking for thinner, smaller foam squares. I had pulled some stamp sets that I might could use for some phrases, but I mean, I don't see that happening on the live, honestly. 124. Oh, you know what? I started at 12:15. So I'm just at an hour and 9 minutes. Okay. That frames it a little better. I don't have a deadline, you know, but I just like to keep these not too long and boring. Okay. So this, we're going to bring it right there. And now, oh yeah. Let's see. What do y'all think? Think it's close to done? I do. Oh, I gotta assemble this up here. I'm just gonna trim a little bit of this off the bottom so that it can tuck under there more like that. Dolly is a legend. Man, I guess it was 24 when she did the Super Bowl show, or no, it was the Thanksgiving Day show for the Cowboys. And she came out, she's like 76 at the time, and she came out in the Dallas Cowboys cheerleader's uniform. I was like, oh my word. But I love her. I love her success. I think, she came up in the industry at a time when women were really diminished. And she talks about that in a special that ran. Okay. So here's kind of what we're looking at. I think it's good. I don't think I need to do anything else to it. Like I said, I'll trim this up. I'll trim these edges up at the end. Ta-da! 1 month in the books. So I'll read you the journaling. Hello, January 2024. The fresh promise of a new year and a clean slate, which I love that. I love a fresh start. We kicked it off at Andrews and Jen's with Shrimp and Oyster Po' Boys and Ark Nova. That's a board game. The usual mix of Christmas Pie and House Reset, football playoffs, and Steve recovering from the hard holiday season filled the month. A quick 6-day trip to sunny, warm Jamaica to return home to light snow. A second warm weather escape to our beloved Walt Disney World Festival of the Arts, then back home to burrow with some Law and Order. Birthday FaceTime with Beth. I love a new year. Okay, so let's see. I will go ahead and plan on doing February 2024, 2 weeks from today, which would be the 26th. And I will have to print my photos, which is not a problem. And I thank you so much for hopping on here. I'm curious to hear if this was inspiring for you or if you worked along with me. And if you did, yeah, I'm fully in frame. If you did, what did you work on? So whatever you did, whether you were just here to support me and chat, or if you were working on a project, I hope that you had some fun. And this isn't too big of a mess. And I've got my next project. I started planning that this morning. So, there's always something in the hopper for what's next. And I'm so appreciative of all the support. I thought that starting a new year with a new channel was a fun way to kick off a year-long series. And so obviously a calendar series was a good idea for my heart, or for, to my way of thinking. So I'm going to go ahead and start wrapping this up. Thank you so much for hopping on, and I hope that you had some fun playing with paper while I played with this paper. And as always, thanks for hanging out with me. Happy 2026, everyone.